All right, everybody, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. We're going to be talking today about solving multi-step equations. And in this example, notice we have variables on both sides of the equation. So we're going to go ahead and try and tackle this one. The tip that I would give any student trying to solve a problem like this is to first get all of the variables on one side of the equation and then get all of the numbers that are by themselves on the other side of the equation. Then work to solve for x, getting x by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and move all of the variables to the left side of the equation, and currently I have an x that's not over on the left side where it belongs. So I'm going to move it over there by subtracting x. Right now I have a positive x on the right side of the equation. And to get rid of it from the right side, I am simply going to subtract x. Remember, you can do anything you want to one side of an equation as long as you do the same thing to the other side of the equation. So I need to remember to subtract x from the left side of the equation as well. So when I subtract x on this side, I'm left with plus 16, or just 16. When I subtract x from the left side, I'm going to kind of pair it with this negative 4x. So a negative 4x minus x, or minus 1x, would give me negative 5x. And then I still have that minus 9. Okay, starting to look a little bit more comfortable for you probably. It looks more like a two-step equation, where now my goal would be to get all of the numbers that don't have any variables onto the other side of the equation. So since I decided to move all my variables to the left side, I'm going to move all my numbers to the right side. And I'm going to start with this minus 9. To move this minus 9 out of the left side, I simply would add 9 to that side of the equation. But remember, if I do it on one side of the equation, I must do it on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and add 9 onto the other side. When I add 9 to the left side of the equation, I have negative 5x. When I add 9 to the right side, I have 25. Okay, down to one more step. To get the x by itself, I need to get rid of this negative 5 that's multiplied to it. So the opposite of multiplying by a negative 5 would be dividing by a negative 5. Again, whatever I do on one side of the equation, I must do the same on the other side. So I'm going to subtract or divide by negative 5 on this side. And I get the answer x equals negative 5. Be careful when you divide a positive divided by a negative, you should get a negative answer. Remember over here, the whole point of dividing by negative 5 is to get rid of this negative 5. And remember, anything divided by itself turns into just a 1, or 1x, or just plain old x. All right, so I have another multi-step equation here to work on, but this one's even harder because I have this fraction, this 4, that's causing a problem. So we need to figure out a way to get rid of this. So before I actually do that, I'm going to get it so that I have just this sitting over on this side of the equation. So I need to work on this minus 1. I'm going to get rid of this minus 1. And to get rid of this minus 1 from this side of the equation, I'm going to just add 1 to the left side of the equation. Minus 1 with a plus 1 added to it makes it go away. But remember, when you are solving algebraic expressions and you add something to one side of the equation, you must add it to the other side. So I'm going to add 1 to the other side of the equation. And when I do that, I'm left with this. Over here, 5 added to a 1 gives me a 6. Then I still have the minus x. Over on this side of the equation, I have the 2x plus 3 divided by the 4 still, and notice that minus 1 is gone. Okay, so now we're going to concentrate on getting rid of this 4. This problem really wouldn't be too difficult if this 4 didn't exist. So I'm going to show you an easy way to get rid of it. I am going to multiply this entire side of the equation by 4. The whole reason for doing that is to get rid of this 4. So guess what happens with these 4's right here? You guessed it. They cancel each other out. And all I'm left with on the left side is 2x plus 3. Now, remember, if you multiply one side of your equation by a number, I multiplied by 4, then you need to multiply the other side of the equation by the same thing. Again, that was a 4. Now, the mistake a lot of students make is when they multiply the other side by 4, they only will multiply one of the terms by 4. That is a mistake. Every single term over here gets multiplied by that 4. So, distributing here, 4 times 6 gives me 24. 4 times negative x gives me negative 4x. Okay, now I can work on trying to solve for x by, again, similar to the last problem, getting all my variables on one side and then getting all of my constants or just my numbers on the other side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add 4x to the right side of the equation because I don't want it on the right side. I want all my variables over on the left side. Now remember, if you add 4x on one side of the equation, you have to do the same thing on the other side. So I'll add 4x to the other side. When I do so, I get 6x, and then I still have that plus 3. Over on this side, all I have left is just the 24, because the negative 4x added to a positive 4x gets washed away. My next move, in a simple two-step equation at this point, is to subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. Again, you have to do it on both sides. When I subtract 3 from both sides, I'll show my work right over here. I have 6x left on one side of the equation, and then I have 24 minus 3, or 21, left on the other side of the equation. My last move is simply to divide by 6 to get that x by itself. These 6's cancel out, so all you have is the x. And over on this side, 21 divided by 6 comes out to be a decimal, so I'm going to leave it as a fraction, 21 over 6. All right, there's my final answer. All right, let's do one more. In this example, I've got variables on both sides. I've got distributive property here. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute on both sides to get it looking like a more normal multi-step equation. So I'm first going to distribute the negative 2 with the x plus 6. So first, negative 2 times x gives me a negative 2x. Then negative 2 times a positive 6 gives me a negative 12. On to the other side, distributing the 3 to the 8 gives me a 24. And then the 3 times the positive 2x gives me a positive 6x. Now, just like before, I'm going to go ahead and collect all my like terms. I'm going to put them all on one side of the equation and get all my x's to the left side. To do that, I'm going to subtract 6x to make that go away. But remember, if you subtract 6x on one side, you must do the same thing on the other side. So on the right side, I'm doing great. I have a 24. But on the left side, I have a negative 2x minus 6x. That should give you a grand total of negative 8x. Still have minus 12. My next move would be to work on this negative 12, getting rid of it, bringing it to the other side. Remember, we brought all our x's to the left side, so we're going to bring all the numbers to the right side. So I'm going to add 12 to this side to get rid of that. But again, must do the same thing on the other side of the equation. On the left, I'm left with negative 8x. And on the right, I'm left with 36. My last step is to divide both sides by negative 8 to get that x by itself. Over here, negative 8 divided by negative 8 gives me the x by itself that I'm looking for. And over here, 36 divided by negative 8, since 8 does not go into 36 evenly, we're going to leave it as a fraction, 36 over negative 8. All right, I hope you enjoyed these videos and I hope they help. Have a great day, everybody.